Welcome to the Allied Air Power podcast, NATO's sole broadcast that patrols the full spectrum of air, space, and cyberspace. Wherever you serve, consider this your ground truth for alliance activity above the clouds, beyond the atmosphere, and across the digital domain.
Headline: NATO allies demonstrate deterrence and assurance during exercise Cobra Warrior. The UK Royal Air Force hosted its biannual exercise, Cobra Warrior 2026-1, the United Kingdom's premier tactical air training event. This high-end exercise brings together allied air forces to refine collective defence strategies and enhance multinational integration within an increasingly complex security environment. Cobra Warrior 26-1 is deliberately designed to challenge participants across the high-end spectrum of warfighting. It serves as the culmination of rigorous preparation, ensuring that NATO nations' air forces remain integrated, adaptable, and capable of addressing mutual security challenges globally. The primary objective of Cobra Warrior is to advance joint mission planning and tactical execution within a composite air operation environment. By hosting German and Polish allies, the exercise provides a critical platform to synchronize tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPS, against a peer competitor adversary. Beyond technical proficiency, Cobra Warrior serves as a high-level leadership incubator. The program is specifically tailored to produce elite mission commanders, or MCS, and functional team leaders, or FTLS, trained to execute mission command effectively within coalition operations, ensuring that NATO's command structure remains resilient, decentralized, and lethal. Group Captain Robertson, Exercise Director, said, "Training with our allies in such a demanding environment is immensely valuable." Group Captain Robertson, Exercise Director, concluded, "It enables participants to develop and practice the leadership skills required to synchronize multi-platform air maneuvers with cross-domain effects in a multinational setting. This level of training is essential to sustaining our operational advantage." The exercise stands as a testament to the consistent, steadfast commitment and contribution to NATO's collective defense. Cobra Warrior showcases the overall intent to maintain warfighting excellence alongside strategic allies, further reinforcing the operational vigilance that underpins the Eastern Sentry framework. Through constant refinement and shared lessons learned, Cobra Warrior ensures that allied air forces remain a capable, credible, and prepared force. By demonstrating these robust deterrence and assurance capabilities, NATO allies send a clear message of unity and readiness to respond to any threat against the alliance's integrity, bridging tactical excellence with the persistent regional security objectives of the Eastern flank. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the UK Royal Air Force. Published April 7, 2026.
Headline: NATO Military Committee highlights air and space power during Allied Air Command visit. Admiral Giuseppe Dragone, chairman of the NATO Military Committee, and the NATO Military Committee visited Allied Air Command on March 25 and 26, 2026. The visit focused on the strategic importance of Allied air and space power in maintaining collective deterrence and defense. Admiral Dragone said, "Mutual trust, cohesion, and reliability among allies are the elements that ensure our collective resilience." Admiral Dragone added, "In the modern warfare scenarios, trust remains our most critical strategic asset. While combat aircraft remain essential to maintain air superiority, their efficacy is guaranteed by a seamless integration in a multi-domain environment." The visit highlighted the critical role of Allied Air Command in securing NATO airspace, particularly along the eastern flank. This security is maintained through the Integrated Air and Missile Defense, or IAMD, framework, which includes NATO air policing, ballistic missile defense, and vigilance activities such as Eastern Sentry. Admiral Dragone and the Military Committee met with senior leaders to review how integrated air capabilities provide a constant shield against both known and evolving threats. These missions are essential for the alliance to monitor and protect every inch of NATO territory 24/7. Admiral Dragone said, "Through initiatives like the Eastern Sentry, we are actively strengthening the operational bonds among allies. This technical and tactical cohesion is the bedrock of our commitment for protecting our populations. Our message is clear: we are strong, against any threat, and united. And no nation will be left to stand alone. Lieutenant General Jason T. Hines, Commander of Allied Air Command, emphasized the need for continuous vigilance through daily missions, operations, and training. The visit also underscored the role of agile combat employment in enhancing survivability and resilience, the urgent need for intelligence, information, and data sharing, and finally the requirements for effective command and control across the alliance. Lieutenant General Jason T. Hines stated, Allied Air Command will continue to leverage national capabilities to adapt and address current and future threats, ensuring the defense of our skies now and into the future. Lieutenant General Jason T. Hines said, Our commitment to air defense and activities such as Eastern Sentry ensures our air and space forces are fully prepared to deter aggression by our adversaries. Discussions also addressed the evolution of NATO's IAMD posture. Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the alliance has strengthened its presence on the eastern flank. Through Eastern Sentry, NATO deploys fighter aircraft, surveillance platforms, and ground-based systems to provide a strong and visible deterrent. This initiative combines diverse military assets and new technologies to address modern threats, including one-way attack drones. The Military Committee is the senior military authority in NATO and the oldest permanent body in NATO after the North Atlantic Council, both of which were formed only months after the alliance came into being. It is the primary source of military advice to the North Atlantic Council and the Nuclear Planning Group, and gives direction to the two strategic commanders. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office. Published March 27, 2026.
Headline: The Romanian Air Force assume NATO's air policing mission in Lithuania. The Romanian Air Force, alongside French Rafale fighter aircraft, supports NATO's air policing mission from Šiauliai Air Base in Lithuania, following the outgoing Spanish Air Force detachment in the Baltic region. The deployment of F-16 fighter jets and 100 personnel supports NATO's Eastern Sentry activities, reinforcing a credible and scalable Allied air defense posture on the alliance's eastern flank. Operating under NATO's integrated air and missile defense system, the Romanian detachment will maintain quick reaction alert to safeguard Allied airspace. The mission ensures continuous monitoring of air activity over the Baltic region and provides the capability to intercept aircraft approaching NATO territory when required. Romania's deployment marks the fourth time the Romanian Air Force has contributed to NATO's Baltic air policing mission from Lithuania, demonstrating its sustained commitment to Allied collective defense. During this rotation, the Romanian F-16 detachment will operate alongside French Air and Space Force Rafale fighter aircraft also deployed to Lithuania. The presence of two Allied fighter detachments enhances NATO's operational flexibility while maintaining a robust and responsive air defense capability in the Baltic region. Despite operating different fighter aircraft platforms, Romanian F-16s and French Rafales integrate seamlessly within NATO's command and control structures. This interoperability highlights the strength of NATO's integrated air and missile defense system and the alliance's ability to rapidly combine multinational air power. The rotation underscores NATO's continued commitment to the security of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Since the Baltic states do not possess their own fighter aircraft for air policing, Allied nations regularly deploy aircraft and personnel to ensure the protection of Allied airspace. Conducted under the Eastern Sentry framework, the mission contributes to NATO's flexible and scalable force posture across the eastern flank. By rotating Allied air power through forward operating locations such as Šiauliai Air Base, the alliance demonstrates unity, readiness, and resolve, and ensures a persistent and credible defensive presence. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the Romanian Air Force. Published March 30, 2026.
Headline: UK Royal Air Force Eurofighters deploy to Romania for NATO air policing under Eastern Sentry. Royal Air Force Eurofighter Typhoon fighters arrived at Bacău Air Base in Romania as they took on NATO's air policing mission, reinforcing the alliance's commitment to the security of the eastern flank. The deployment of the Eurofighters, supported by around 200 personnel, forms part of NATO's enhanced vigilance activity, Eastern Sentry, strengthening a flexible and scalable Allied force posture in the region. The Royal Air Force takes over air policing responsibilities from the outgoing German Eurofighter detachment and will lead NATO's mission for the next 4 months. Operating from Borcea, the British fighters will hold quick reaction alert alongside the Romanian Air Force, safeguarding Allied airspace and maintaining the integrity of NATO's integrated air and missile defense systems. The mission ensures that any unusual or uncoordinated air activity near NATO airspace is identified, monitored, and, if necessary, intercepted. Wing Commander Sunny, officer commanding 3rd Fighter Squadron, said, "The deployment of our Typhoons to Romania demonstrates the United Kingdom's unwavering commitment to NATO and the defense of NATO airspace." Wing Commander Sunny, officer commanding 3rd Fighter Squadron, added, "Working alongside our Romanian allies, this deployment demonstrates our ability to rapidly project credible air power in support of collective defense, whenever needed." This deployment also highlights NATO's agile combat employment concept, which focuses on dispersing forces and operating from multiple locations to increase survivability, operational flexibility, and responsiveness. By deploying to Borcea instead of Mihail Coguelnicianu Air Base, the Royal Air Force detachment demonstrates how Allied air forces can rapidly adapt to different operating environments whilst maintaining operational effectiveness. Through close coordination between host nation forces, the deploying unit, and the Combined Air Operations Center in Torrejon, the mission highlights NATO's enhanced interoperability, Allied integration, and the alliance's collective readiness. Activities conducted under Eastern Sentry are designed to reinforce deterrence and assurance measures along NATO's eastern flank. By maintaining a flexible and scalable presence, NATO ensures it can adjust its posture as required to respond rapidly to changes in the security environment. Air policing remains a cornerstone of NATO's commitment to collective defense, providing continuous protection of Allied airspace. Missions are conducted on a rotational basis, with Allied nations contributing aircraft and personnel to maintain a persistent defensive presence across the alliance. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the UK Royal Air Force. Published March 30, 2026.
Headline: Portuguese F-16s take over NATO air policing mission in Omori, Estonia. Portuguese Air Force F-16 fighter aircraft have deployed to Omori Air Base in Estonia to assume NATO's air policing mission in the Baltic region. The Portuguese detachment replaces the outgoing Italian Air Force contingent, ensuring the continued protection of Allied airspace as part of NATO's enhanced air policing mission. Operating under the command and control of the Combined Air Operations Center in Udum, Germany, Portuguese fighters will remain on quick reaction alert to identify, monitor, and, if necessary, intercept any air threat approaching Allied airspace. The mission contributes to NATO's enduring commitment to safeguard the sovereignty and territorial integrity of its Baltic allies. The deployment includes 4 F-16M aircraft and up to 95 personnel, including pilots, maintainers, and support staff. From Omori Air Base, the Portuguese detachment will enhance the continuous surveillance of the Baltic region alongside other Allied forces contributing in the region. Lieutenant Colonel Augusto Figueiredo, commander of the Portuguese detachment, said, "NATO's Baltic air policing demonstrates the unity and resolve of the alliance." Lieutenant Colonel Augusto Figueiredo, commander of the Portuguese detachment, said, "Our personnel are ready to contribute to the security of the Baltic region and to work alongside our Estonian colleagues and our other allies to ensure NATO airspace remains safe and secure." Portugal has been a consistent contributor to NATO air policing, and this deployment marks the 9th time the Portuguese Air Force has participated in the mission. The current rotation is the second time Portuguese fighter aircraft conduct the mission from Estonia's Omori Air Base, after several previous deployments to Lithuania. The seamless transition between the Italian and Portuguese detachments demonstrates the level of interoperability among allies. Such rotations highlight the strength of Allied cooperation and NATO's ability to maintain a persistent defensive presence across the eastern flank. By regularly rotating Allied air power across the region, NATO demonstrates its ability to sustain multinational air power across Europe, ensuring the alliance maintains a credible and ready air defense posture in support of NATO's collective defense. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the Portuguese Air Force. Published March 31, 2026.
Headline: French Rafales deployed to Lithuania for NATO's Baltic air policing. The French Air and Space Force deployed 4 Rafale fighter aircraft to Šiauliai Air Base in Lithuania to lead NATO's Baltic air policing mission, replacing the outgoing Spanish Air Force detachment. Operating within NATO's integrated air and missile defense system, the French detachment will maintain quick reaction alert to safeguard NATO airspace over the Baltic region. NATO air policing, under Eastern Sentry, ensures continuous surveillance and the ability to respond to any unusual or uncoordinated air activity approaching NATO territory. Lieutenant Colonel Alexandre, chief of the French detachment, said, "For our pilots and personnel, deploying to Lithuania is both a responsibility and a privilege." Lieutenant Colonel Alexandre, chief of the French detachment, said, "We are proud to stand alongside our Romanian allies and our Lithuanian hosts to help protect NATO airspace." Lieutenant Colonel Alexandre, chief of the French detachment, said, "Every day our teams work together, different aircraft, different nations, but one mission, to ensure the security of the alliance." France has been a consistent contributor to NATO's Baltic air policing mission. This deployment marks the 9th rotation for the French Air and Space Force in Lithuania. Additional deployments to Marie, Estonia, further highlight France's commitment to Allied collective defense and regional stability. Supporting the mission, Romanian Air Force F-16 fighter aircraft are also deployed to Lithuania. The presence of two Allied detachments operating from the same location strengthens the alliance's ability to maintain continuous vigilance over the region. The combined deployment provides NATO with enhanced operational flexibility, allowing Allied forces to rapidly adapt to evolving operational requirements. French Rafales and Romanian F-16s operate seamlessly within NATO's command and control structures, demonstrating the interoperability of Allied air forces. Such multinational cooperation remains a cornerstone of NATO's deterrence and defense posture. By operating different aircraft types from the same forward location, the alliance demonstrates its ability to integrate diverse capabilities while maintaining a robust defensive posture. Conducted under the Eastern Sentry framework, the mission reinforces NATO's scalable and responsive force posture along the eastern flank. The deployment of Allied fighter jets ensures that NATO maintains a persistent and credible presence in the Baltic region, ensuring NATO airspace remains secure while strengthening deterrence and defense across the alliance that is adaptable to the global security environment. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the French Air Force. Published March 31, 2026.
Headline: Italian Eurofighters conclude NATO air policing mission in Estonia following consecutive deployments. The Italian Air Force has concluded its NATO air policing deployment at Omori Air Base in Estonia, after completing 2 consecutive rotations in support of the alliance's Baltic air policing mission. The Italian Eurofighter detachment now hands over responsibility to the incoming Portuguese Air Force, ensuring the continued protection of NATO airspace on the alliance's eastern flank. During their deployment, Italian Eurofighters maintained continuous quick reaction alert under NATO's integrated air and missile defense system. Operating from Omori Air Base, the detachment contributed to safeguarding NATO airspace over the Baltic region, reinforcing NATO's deterrence and defense posture under Eastern Sentry. Over the course of the mission, the Italian detachment accumulated more than 1,300 flying hours, demonstrating sustained operational readiness. The persistent air surveillance capability ensured the ability to respond rapidly to any unusual or uncoordinated air activity near NATO airspace. The Italians participated in multinational training and exercises, including Furious Wolf, as well as close air support training with Latvian forces. Air-to-air training missions were conducted alongside Spanish, Portuguese, and Finnish fighter aircraft, further enhancing interoperability. Colonel Fabio De Michele, Italian Air Force Detachment Commander, said, "The Italian detachment fully achieved the assigned mission to safeguard the airspace in the Baltic region. Prolonged operations in such a challenging and dynamic environment confirmed once again the high level of training, the professionalism and dedication of Italian Air Force and Army personnel, who have operated continuously in great synergy." Colonel Fabio De Michele, Italian Air Force Detachment Commander, said, "Working alongside our Estonian friends enhanced our mission capabilities, ensuring the continued security of NATO airspace." The detachment contributed to 4 flexible deterrence options, integrating into NATO's command and control framework while refining procedures and coordination with other allied forces. These events ensure common standards and operational effectiveness across the alliance. In addition, the detachment conducted extensive community engagements and provided continuous counter-unmanned aircraft systems and joint terminal attack controller support to the hosting nation, ensuring NATO readiness. The detachment also capitalized on activities including counter-unmanned aerial systems training, where Italian Eurofighters operated against Estonian drone systems to enhance defensive capabilities against emerging threats. The seamless transition to the Portuguese Air Force ensures uninterrupted continuation of NATO's air policing mission in Estonia.
Regular rotations of Allied fighter detachments highlight the alliance's ability to maintain a persistent and credible air defense posture. NATO continues to demonstrate unity, readiness, and resolve through its coordinated activities under Eastern Sentry. The conclusion of the Italian rotation reinforces the alliance's commitment to collective defense and to maintaining a flexible and scalable presence on the eastern flank. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the Italian Air Force. Published April 4, 2026.
Headline: Spanish Air and Space Force concludes NATO air policing mission in Lithuania. The Spanish Air and Space Force has successfully concluded its NATO air policing deployment at Šiauliai Air Base in Lithuania after completing 2 consecutive rotations. During their deployment, Spanish F-18M Hornet aircraft and personnel provided continuous quick reaction alert, ensuring the protection of NATO airspace over the Baltic region. The mission contributes directly to NATO's deterrence and defense posture on the eastern flank under Eastern Sentry. The Spanish detachment accumulated more than 900 flying hours and conducted more than 25 alpha scrambles, responding to unidentified air threats approaching NATO airspace. These operations underscore the enduring requirement for vigilance and rapid response in safeguarding the integrity of NATO's airspace. Spanish forces also played an active role in multinational training and exercises, including Agile Lynx, Tiger Hunter, and Furious Wolf. In addition, the detachment conducted 10 agile combat employment activities. These included cross-servicing opportunities with the Lithuanian Air Force, improving operational flexibility and the ability to sustain dispersed air operations. Lieutenant Colonel Fernando Garcia Islen, Spanish Air and Space Force Detachment Commander, said, "For our personnel, this deployment has been both demanding and deeply rewarding." Lieutenant Colonel Fernando Garcia Islen, Spanish Air and Space Force Detachment Commander, said, "We have been operating in a dynamic environment, side by side with our Lithuanian hosts and allied partners, contributing to the security of NATO airspace." Lieutenant Colonel Fernando Garcia Islen, Spanish Air and Space Force Detachment Commander, said, "I am proud of the professionalism and dedication shown by our teams throughout the deployment." The Spanish detachment provided counter-unmanned aerial systems protection at Šiauliai Air Base through its CROW system, contributing to the security of deployed personnel and infrastructure. In addition, Spanish A400M aircraft supported air-to-air refueling missions, enabling both Spanish F-18M fighters and other allied aircraft to extend their operational reach. These activities demonstrate NATO's enhanced interoperability, strengthening collective readiness across the region. The Spanish Air and Space Force also supported national engagement, conducting flypasts over Lithuania and Estonia to mark their respective independence days. These activities reinforce the strong relationship between allied forces and host nations while demonstrating visible assurance measures. The Spanish detachment now hands over responsibilities to the incoming Romanian and French Air and Space Force fighter detachments. The seamless transition ensures the continuation of NATO's air policing mission without interruption. Through sustained contributions, NATO continues to demonstrate unity, readiness, and resolve, safeguarding NATO airspace and maintaining a flexible and scalable presence on the eastern flank. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the Spanish Air Force. Published April 5, 2026.
Headline: German Eurofighters hand over NATO's enhanced air policing mission in Romania to the Royal Air Force. The German Air Force has concluded its NATO enhanced air policing deployment at Mihail Coguelnicianu, or MK, Air Base in Romania, after completing 2 consecutive rotations in support of the alliance's southeastern air defense mission. The German Eurofighter detachment now hands over responsibility to the incoming Royal Air Force Typhoon detachment. Deployed since summer 2025, the German contingent has been continuously contributing to the security of the alliance's southeastern flank. From Romania's Black Sea region, the detachment maintained continuous readiness under NATO's integrated air and missile defense mission. Throughout the deployment, German Eurofighter Typhoon aircraft accumulated more than 600 flying hours and conducted over 470 sorties. The sustained operational tempo ensured a persistent and responsive presence in a strategically important region of NATO's eastern flank. Lieutenant Colonel Andreas Hulk Beckmann, German Air Force Detachment Commander, said, "For our personnel, this mission has been both demanding and meaningful." Lieutenant Colonel Andreas Hulk Beckmann, German Air Force Detachment Commander, said, "Holding quick reaction alert on NATO's southeastern flank, close to the Black Sea, brings a real sense of responsibility." Lieutenant Colonel Andreas Hulk Beckmann, German Air Force Detachment Commander, said, "I am proud of how our team worked alongside our Romanian allies every day to ensure the security of NATO airspace." The detachment executed more than 25 Alpha scrambles, highlighting NATO's ability to respond rapidly to any potential threat to the airspace. This quick reaction alert mission remains a cornerstone of NATO air policing, ensuring the integrity and security of NATO airspace 24/7. In addition to air policing duties, German personnel conducted 8 flexible deterrence options, reinforcing NATO's adaptable and scalable posture under Eastern Sentry. These activities contribute to deterrence by demonstrating the alliance's readiness and capability to respond to evolving security challenges. German Eurofighters regularly operated alongside Romanian F-16s, enhancing interoperability and strengthening NATO's integrated air defense network in the region. The deployment also provided valuable opportunities for multinational training and integration, ensuring that Allied forces remain prepared to operate together effectively in a dynamic operational environment. The handover to the Royal Air Force enables continuous air policing coverage over Romania. Such rotations underscore NATO's ability to sustain persistent air power forward deployed, ensuring stability and security along the southeastern flank. Through sustained presence and multinational cooperation, NATO continues to reinforce a responsive and adaptable posture across the eastern flank. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the German Air Force. Published April 6, 2026.
That wraps up this flight of the Allied Air Power podcast, where news-driven updates meet the authentic voices behind the mission to defend every inch of NATO territory. Until our next sortie, stand ready in the air, secure in cyberspace, and steadfast on our path to the stars.